All right, everybody, welcome back to Spiraling Together. This is episode 13, Spiritual Paths.
Our evolving relationship with religion. Aloha, friends. Welcome to Spiraling Together, a mother-daughter healing journey.
I'm the daughter, Chloe.
And I'm the mother, Valerie.
Our mission is to create a safe, nurturing space where mothers and daughters can begin a journey of healing and empowerment together.
Through heartfelt conversations, shared experiences, and our personal insights, we aim to foster deeper connections, strengthen bonds, and inspire growth.
Before we dive into today's conversation, we want to take a moment to express our heartfelt thanks to all of you who are tuning in.
Your willingness to expand and grow with us inspires us each day, and we are honored to have you as part of our community.
If you haven't already, please check out our links below and follow us on your favorite platforms so you never miss an episode.
Let's get ready to unravel the spiral
together. Before we get into the thick of it, we are first going to kind of play catch up with y'all and each other a little.
Yes.
So... First things first, you're finally back from Paris and, France in general.
Yes.
Different areas. How was that?
Are we going to dive right into that? Yes. Because I feel like it's been a while. And the last time that we had an episode, we talked about how we were going to make episodes apart. And then how we were also possibly, we were going to do one while I was in France. But as you can see, we're together.
Again.
Yeah. Because after being gone for a few weeks and you being in San Diego, Chad and Logan, so my husband and Chloe's brother, they just went to Austin, Texas to the Awaken event and Danny Morell's Awaken event. And I was going to be out here at the farm alone for a week. And I definitely have been able to, I could handle it, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, would you like to come out and help me? And also just so that we could catch up and see each other. So, yeah.
Yeah, just kind of worked out perfectly.
Yeah. And so it's been really great. It's always great when you come out, and I really appreciate the help because I also was a bit sick after I was honestly kind of sick almost my entire trip. I've been dealing with some sinus infection stuff. So if I sound a little nasally, that's why.
Yeah, but I definitely needed to come out here too.
You did.
Yeah. San Diego is very, very different, and being on the farm is a lot easier to slow down and stay grounded and everything.
Yeah. And there's lots of cute animals too.
Exactly.
And beautiful flowers. And it is. I'm really grateful for this place, and I'm grateful for the time that it has given me to be able to learn to slow down and to realize what really is important in this life. And I believe we're going to hit on that in the episode today. And so, you asked me about France. So it was great, and it was also hard. You know, being away for 3 weeks, and I not only traveled to France, but I also went to Belgium and the Netherlands. And the main reason I did go to France was to go on a pilgrimage for Mary Magdalene. And so, but it evolved into a lot more than just the pilgrimage. You know, I was able to spend time in Paris alone and have some fun there. And then after the pilgrimage, I met up with my mom, your grandma, and we went to Amsterdam, and we went to Brussels, and we spent about a week together going and seeing things. So, yeah, it was really, I mean, it's hard to sum up like three weeks.
That's a long time for traveling.
Yeah, I slept in 10 different beds.
It's crazy.
And like I said, I did have a sinus infection.
Yeah.
The wind was extremely crazy in the south of France. Mm-hmm. And I'm sensitive in my nasal passages. And so I'm working through that. But, you know, it was really a heart-opening experience. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what to expect when I went on this pilgrimage. A pilgrimage is showing your love and devotion to someone or that has opened your eyes and
impacted you in a great way,
in a very great way. Mm-hmm. And so Mary Magdalene is one of those divine feminine ascended masters, basically, you mm-hmm. know, that came to me very strongly mm-hmm. and showed me a way back to my heart.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say really quickly, maybe before you dive more into it.
Yeah.
Just kind of explain who Mary Magdalene is, maybe.
Okay.
I definitely didn't even know who that was until you started talking about her. So I would say that's one of the ladies that's been pushed down that we don't get taught, if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. So growing up, and a lot of people were taught, because in the Bible, she was labeled as a prostitute. And she wasn't a prostitute. She was actually a very well-educated and someone who followed Jesus or Yeshua, and who, I like to say, she understood the assignment. Mm. She was the apostle of the apostles. So Jesus actually shared things with her that he didn't share with others. Mm. And regardless of, you know, what you believe now, there's as usual. There's always a gnat that comes into this.
Basically a part of the podcast now.
Yeah, Hawaii. They just like to be part of it. But so she had a gospel, and her gospel was hidden. It was actually buried, and it was lost for 2,000 years.
Wow.
And it hadn't resurfaced until, you know, the last 100 years. And even then, getting it published, there was a lot that went on, like, for it to get suppressed even longer. But I believe in 2016, the Pope renounced that, what the Bible said about her, and claimed her as a saint.
Wow.
And so her truth is coming out more and more, that she really was somebody that understood Christ's teachings. Mm-hmm. And, you know, to me, that suppression of the divine feminine for the last 2,000 years, I feel like is kind of what had to happen for us to now be seeing the truth. And for so many women who are coming into their divine feminine, it's almost like there had to be a suppression and a bit of an anger to now be able to see through the fact that we have been hidden from the truth.
Yeah.
And that so many people have been fed a false narrative.
Right.
You know, especially within, you know, the Bible did not have all of the acts or gospels that were actually written and other followers of Jesus. So it was put together for a reason, for control and for fear. And I believe it was really missing the point of what Jesus was actually teaching.
Yeah.
So
I can agree with that for sure.
Yeah. So I wanted to pay my respects to Mary Magdalene. because she really did help me come into my heart space, into my sacred heart, and understand that love comes within, and that sacred heart space is where God, the divine source, resides and emanates out through all of us. And so when I went to the pilgrimage, and I literally got to this little town, St. Baume, this little village, and you could look up at the mountain, and there is a cave, a grotto, where it said that she went to continue these teachings that she learned, and where she continued to heal. It said that the angels flew her up there 7 times a day. And from what I study, what do we have that's 7?
Chakras.
Exactly. 7 places where we develop wounds, right?
Yeah.
Some paths call them the demons that we have, they're wounds.
Yeah.
And as I got there, I really didn't know what to expect. I just knew that I was coming. I knew that I was going to hike up there, and I knew I was going to hike up to the top of the mountain. And the morning that I woke up, the day that we were, basically the first real day of when we were all meeting together, all the women, I could feel this presence come through, and I just started crying, and I could just feel, this energy within me holding my heart. And it was I knew that she was present. I knew that she was okay, are you ready for more love? Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah.
So obviously there's a lot of books now. One of my favorite authors, she is Meggan Watterson, and she's written the book that my brain is not working right now. I don't know why I'm just talking about this book. Wow, it's going to come to me during this. Okay. But anyway, she is a feminist theologian, and she has written books, and she has an online community called the House of Mary Magdalene. She's got some oracle cards, and she's really who helped me see the truth of Mary Magdalene.
Nice.
Yeah.
So is there anything else from the trip that you want to talk about?
Anything else from the trip?
Or the pilgrimage specifically?
I think I went into a ton of churches, a ton of sacred places, and so obviously I saw a lot of statues of, Jesus. And the thing that kept sticking out to me in every one of these places was that sacred heart. And that I remember when I was little, and maybe you've heard this before, that so many people said, you have to invite Jesus into your heart. You have to invite Jesus into your heart. And what actually came to me was that our heart spaces it's already where the message lies. It's already where the love is. God, source, universe, energy, all of that it's actually already within us. We don't necessarily have to invite anything from the outside in. We already have it within us, right?
Gotta awaken it, bring it out.
Exactly. And so I think that that's where, when we were talking about this episode, is that so much of religions teach that God is outside of us and that we are less than. When really the teachings are that the kingdom is within us.
Yeah.
It's within our sacred heart. And the last thing I'm going to say is that, I grew up very much with a lot of religious trauma, and for the longest time I couldn't even say God. I didn't even want to like have anything to do, I'll be honest, with Christianity or Catholicism. But it was like every single time that I had something to do with like one of these divine feminine leaders, Mary Magdalene or Mother Mary or Our Lady of Guadalupe, or even like seeing like Jesus on a candle with the Sacred Heart, I would feel my own heart chakra just spinning open and open. And I was like, would you stop? This is not really what I want to go into. Can't I like study like Buddha or Hindu or, any of these other like paths? I don't want to. And I felt that so deeply, but then now it's like, oh wait, it's because I didn't understand the truth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring up the like our backgrounds in religion, like prior to maybe a decade ago or so. Like I guess personally how I grew up, I started going to church, and a lot of it was because of my dad's side of the family, I guess I would say. But still, actually, I don't know. Did you go to church when you were a little kid?
A little bit,
but not like
no. If I did, it was Catholic church, and it was with my grandma, or when I went to go visit my aunt and uncle.
Yeah.
My parents didn't really take me much to church or anything like that, so it wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would say I don't think that I have like an insane amount of religious trauma, but I do know a lot of people that do. And growing up like Christian in Texas, it's a really like intense thing, I think. And I am glad that we are not as involved in the church as some of the people that I know, or that had been or had been forced into it and stuff like that. But it's funny because I've had like this religious conversation with a lot of people my age recently, and like how growing up religious, it does that thing you're saying, like it controls you, and it's super fear-based, and it limits you a lot.
And shames.
Like you're born into this world that you have to fight to be.
You're born a sinner, is what they're said, and there's all these things that you're supposed to like do,
and you have to ask for forgiveness
constantly. And there's like a superiority type situation, a lot of judgment. That's what really got me when I was young. When I would go to church, it would just be like, okay, on Sundays, people go to church and they act all like, church going, like
high and mighty.
And then as soon as they leave for the rest of the week before Sunday rolls around again, to me, it didn't, the way they acted didn't coincide with the way that they were in church, or the things that were being said in church.
Aloha listeners, we hope you're enjoying this episode of Spiraling Together. We're just taking a quick break to remind you about a few things.
If you're loving what you hear, we ask you to please follow, like, and subscribe to our podcast. Your support helps us reach more people who might benefit from our conversations.
And we're on all the major social media platforms. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Just search for Spiraling Together and you'll see all our latest updates and behind-the-scenes content.
We absolutely love hearing from you. Your comments, likes, and shares mean the world to us. They not only motivate us to keep going, but also help us create better content for you.
So, if you have any feedback, questions, or topics you'd like us to cover, please leave a comment or send us a message. We read every single one and appreciate your thoughts.
Thank you so much for supporting Spiraling Together. Your engagement and feedback are what keep us inspired and passionate about bringing more vulnerable conversations.
Now, let's get back to the show.
When I was little, I just always was like, this doesn't really make any sense. Like, that's what I saw, and
same here.
Yeah.
It's just a confusing thing. And I feel like it teaches you to put on those masks also when you're super young. Like, oh, when you go to this place, you need to act like this. Oh, when we see these people, we need to act like this. And it's just like, what?
It's just like there's a lot of... Okay, so when religions were created, they were created by man. They were taken from these teachers that were at an extreme high vibration. They were the pure essence of love and energy. If we really look back, their teachings were so pure. But then man, who there's no way that they are at that type of a high vibration and frequency and love, they create these religions based on teachings, but they also twist them and turn them so that they can have control over people and instill fear. Yeah. And when those types of vibrations, frequencies, themes of consciousness are pushed onto people, they're not actually ever truly feeling what like Christ was teaching, like what Christ consciousness is. And so, yeah, I can see you want to say something.
It makes me think of mass production. Like, when things start being mass produced, what happens? Quality goes down, cutting corners. Yeah. That's what happens with these teachings. If you're, well, I don't want to say something crazy, but like,
why not?
I mean, when you start looking, it's like, even when you're on social media and you start reading stuff, it's like everyone can skew a version of something. And if you're not getting it from the source, it's probably like been jumbled up or turned into something else.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. That's what happened to religion, I feel like.
Yeah. And it was literally like, if you look back to the time when Jesus was alive, it was like during the Roman Empire.
I was going to bring that up.
And what was the Roman Empire trying to do? Control people.
Yeah.
You know, they were overtaxing them and they were trying to control them. And when Jesus was doing his teachings and showing his miracles, he was bringing so much attention to him. And religion at that time, it was a rule. You know, it was a set of rules, and there were only certain men that were allowed to like teach these, teachings. And whenever Jesus started showing these miracles and bringing all this attention to him, they wanted to stop that. And so that's exactly what they did. And then they were able to twist it and turn it into a way to further control people with the government part of it, the taxing, and then the religion part of it. So how do you control the masses? You have to bring their level of consciousness down. You have to make them be in a state of fear so that they are good.
Yeah.
And
then it also makes me like want to bring a little light to what happened to Hawaii. I mean, if you think we're just the 50th state, no, it was taken. Yeah. And they imprisoned the queen and they forced the religion onto these people.
Yep.
And It was overthrown.
Yeah.
And they've never gotten recognition for it.
Right.
And I'll also say, like, it's not in any history books. Like in Texas, when I was in school,
no,
they're just like, oh, Hawaii was the 50th state.
Yeah. And this is such a good thing that you're bringing up about how things are erased. Mm-hmm. This is where, like, to me, the divine feminine comes in, because there have been so many temples and so many arts and so many things that showed that we used to be a matriarchy, not the patriarchy.
Right.
That we used to have these feminine teachers and feminine rulers. And when I say, like, ruler, it was a very peaceful place on earth. It was much more peaceful.
Right.
But it was like, with this dawning of religion, they basically tried to hide, like, that there is a mother. You've always heard the father and son, but what about the mother?
Yeah.
How is anyone even birthed without a mother?
That is the wildest thing, I think.
Yeah. So this divine feminine energy or power, and when I talk about power, if you look at Dr. David Hawkins, he talks about power and then force. When you come from a place of power, that's actually a good thing. You're powerful. When you're forcing things, that actually comes from a lower place, because you're forcing something to happen, right? So these things that have happened throughout history, and I personally like to say her story, because it's not all about men. This divine feminine energy that we have within us is truly what helps us heal, is coming back and slowing down and coming out of that, like, masculine energy that has been forcing its way and trying to, like, conquer the world, instead of coming back into that heart space, which it's impossible to truly heal oneself when we can't come back into our heart space. But that's the way our world is operating right now, from this father-son masculine mentality and these wars and stuff through history. I mean, this is not, if we look at the state of the world right now, it looks pretty bleak, right? But I actually believe that all of these things that are happening are waking people up to see how much we truly do need to come back into our hearts and really go back and look at the truth. Don't just have this blind faith that, what you've heard of and what, you were born into is truth, because truth is wiped out for a reason.
Yeah. Sucks.
Well, yeah. It is what it is.
In, like, yeah, a lot is hidden from us.
Yes.
And it is very easy to stay blind to it all.
Yeah.
And just live in a box. Because once you create that routine, nobody likes change.
Right. And it's also like, if the majority of the people that you grow up, like, you're living in a small town and everybody goes to church. I mean, what you were talking about in Texas is...
I wanted to get baptized before we moved here.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
Again, I did want to preface, we are in no way judging if you are a part of a certain religion or whatever you follow or believe in.
Oh, yeah.
That's fully your choice. And
these are just our experiences, what we've come to know.
Yeah.
And also, like, I truly believe that no matter which path you take, inevitably you can find the God within, source, universe, however, you resonate. But I don't believe there's any superior religion.
I totally agree.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
And so growing up in Texas and being in Texas, I remember the number one question that everyone would ask the first time you met them: what church do you go to? And I would always be like,
blah, blah, blah.
I don't always go, but I did go for a time.
Yeah.
But I also saw through some things there that I didn't personally feel comfortable with. And not all churchgoers are bad. It's this isn't what we're saying, but it's like when you feel something inside of you that is just doesn't feel right, but it's like everyone else does it. And so it's almost like it's just the norm. Like I said, if you grow up in a small town or you grow up in a town and everybody goes to church, and you don't go, it's like you are super judged and super shamed, and you're going to go to hell.
Yeah. There's a lot of things. I actually just realized something that I was thinking about as well, with church and religion, is how you dress yourself as a woman. And when you go to church, you have to, wear nice clothes, it's an outing kind of, and wearing nice clothes, but making sure you're covered and not showing anything crazy. Maybe not every religion is like that, but I remember that's what we were told, and, people I know. And I remember one time in Texas, and I was visiting some of our family, and I just kept getting comments about how short my shorts were.
Oh.
And I was like, okay. And there was this girl there, and she was a little bit younger than me, and she was like, my mom would never let me wear those shorts. And I was like, okay. I don't know what to say to that. But it's just sad because it's, along with our last episode, starts instilling that I can't wear what I want, or I know I'm going to get judged for wearing certain things, and people are going to think something about me just because I wear short shorts.
Yeah.
Well,
that comes into the shame of,
being a sexual being, or your
sexuality.
Yeah.
That's another whole thing with the divine feminine, it's or this religious trauma over the sexual shame trauma is so huge for both men and women. It's true. So huge. I mean, it's probably one of the biggest things that are affecting people is their sexual shame, because they, have learned that it's wrong. And
which makes no sense.
I'm just going to throw this out here, but the woman, your clitoris has 8,000 nerve endings on it. There is no other organ in the female or male body that is simply made for pleasure. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Mic drop.
So, yeah. And we're just going to go here for a second. What is something that the majority of people say when they have an orgasm?
Fuck.
No.
Wait. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That's not where I was going. But okay. I wasn't going to go there, but that's funny.
Oh, they say, oh my God.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, I love you, Chloe. Yeah. So Why would we say, oh my God, if we weren't connected to that energy during that act, when we're with our lover? It's okay.
Sorry, I'll bleep that.
No, we're keeping that in.
Oh,
yeah.
Right. This will be an explicit episode.
That's okay. It happens. You know what? It's fine. We're explicit sometimes, and that's another thing. You're not using certain words is not bad.
Aloha, beautiful souls.
Before we continue, we have something exciting to share with you. We've been using Kono Nutrition products for the past 6 months, including their lemon lime pre-workout, protein powder, and vitamin D3 K2, and we are absolutely loving them.
That's right. I've completely kicked harmful energy drinks to the curb because Kono's lemon lime pre-workout gives me a clean boost without the crash. It's been a total game changer for my energy levels.
We decided to try Kono Nutrition after hearing Alex Connolly, cancer survivor and founder of Kono Nutrition, on the Higher Self podcast by Danny Morell. He discussed the harmful ingredients often found in supplements, which made us rethink our choices, as we know what we consume matters.
With Kono, we're getting clean, effective products that we feel great about using. And because we want you to experience the same benefits, we have a special offer for you.
Use our link in the show notes below and get 15% off your purchase at Kono Nutrition. We genuinely believe in these products, and we are excited for you to try them out.
Thanks for listening. And now let's get back to the episode. That's another thing. Oh my gosh, that's a silly story that I have.
Okay, let's hear it. I don't know if it could be any sillier than what just happened.
No, you know about this because I've talked to you about this.
Oh.
We've talked about this multiple times.
Oh.
When I was a kid.
Oh. Is this the Alana story?
Yes.
Okay.
And, when we would go to school, we would ride our bikes to school, and then we would ride back.
Yeah.
Sometimes on the ride back, we would, chill at the mailboxes because that was the thing. And I was with my friend Alana, and then my brother Logan was there, and probably some other people. And Logan thought I said a cuss word.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, no, I didn't. I thought that would be the end of the world to say a cuss word. Because that is another thing, we were taught not to do, Might not just be because of religion. I feel like just being a kid, you're usually taught not to say that.
Right.
And then we go home and Logan tattletales on me that I said a cuss word, and I started freaking out because I did not say a cuss word. And you didn't believe me.
I'm sorry.
And I started having a meltdown. And then you called my friend's mom to ask if my friend heard me say the cuss word. And she was like, no. And then I was like, you didn't believe me.
I'm sorry.
And dude, that was the end of my life right there.
I know. I was very unconscious at that time. And I definitely was just... I was trying.
Fear in me.
No, I know. I know. And see, that's the thing, that word fear. It's fear and love are complete opposites, but so many times, with religion, you are taught that fear is love. People will be so scared for you that they're scared that if you don't believe this certain belief exactly, that you're going to go to hell. And they are coming from a loving place, but they're not really coming from the pure love that, the belief is that we're all on our own sacred journeys and we can all come back to love. And so
I was just going to say, we didn't talk about that yet. The heaven and hell thing.
Oh man, we are on, because that was exactly where I wanted to go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good pivot.
Okay.
Yeah, I have had weird experience with the idea of heaven and hell.
Yeah.
And I've had loved ones tell me that they want me to return to like a Christianity type faith so that they can see me in heaven after we pass away.
Oh.
And I was just really confused. Because in the religion that I grew up in, the belief of like heaven and hell is like, oh, if you're a good person, heaven. If you're a horrible person who doesn't believe in God and, you know, etc., you're going to live the rest of whatever in hell. But when I started to leave that faith and those ideals, I just started to have a lot of issues with this idea of heaven and hell, because to me, this is not talking about everyone who believes in heaven and hell, but if you are, you know, maybe not the most perfect person and some things that you do are morally considered bad, but if you ask for forgiveness and you keep doing those things, how would you be granted a heaven? You know, like if you consciously know that you do things that probably aren't great, but you pray for forgiveness, it just, to me, is really concerning, almost.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
You know,
it does. It's like,
it's a really weird, like,
concept. I mean, and think about it. Think about, like, the control in that. If you are a really good person and you do all of these acts of service and you all of these things, then you're going to go to heaven if you're really good during this lifetime. But if you're bad, you're going to go to hell.
It's like
the truth of it is that we create our own heaven or hell while we're here on earth. We are the creators. And if we create from a place where Jesus was teaching us from our sacred heart, then we can create that heaven while we're here. If we create from this lower fear and judgment and anger and all of these lower places, then we're living in our own hell. And that is the truth of it. There's not a separate heaven or hell. And I'm sorry, whoever said that to you, because that is really confusing, you know, like super confusing.
It's okay.
I mean, but still, like, I could see how that impacted you. Like, what?
Yeah.
You know? And why can't we have a beautiful relationship while we're here right now? And why can't you just support that I'm on my own path and love me where I'm at, instead of waiting until we're both gone?
Wow, that's crazy. That'll make me cry. It's really good. But yeah, what you were saying earlier about making the heaven and hell, like you make it while you're here on earth, that just resonates so much more with me. And makes so much more sense. Yeah. Because realistically, I think the other thing that religion confused me about was, but what actually does happen when we pass away?
Yeah.
Like, no one actually knows. And everyone has a different belief in, like, the afterlife, heaven, hell, reincarnation. I don't know what I believe.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah.
You're still searching.
Exactly.
And that's okay. You know, I personally believe that our souls choose to come to earth because it's a school, and it's one of the hardest schools, but it teaches us the most lessons. And so our souls have many lifetimes and go many places. And I've gone into my Akashic records, which are the records of your soul. And I've been to earth a lot of times.
Yeah.
And it's just a place where we can learn these lessons. And we also choose certain things in our lives that are going to help us evolve. And I know that can be really hard to hear, but I think that once you heal through certain things and you can come back to that place of love in your heart and you can experience heaven while you're here, then the beliefs start, feeling more real that, yeah, I am really grateful for all the hard shit I've been through, because without that, I wouldn't have learned what I learned, and I would not be where I am right now. I wouldn't have awakened like I did, and I wouldn't have felt what it feels like to feel that energy that comes and pours out of your heart into this torus field that comes out of your heart chakra that emanates out, So we're here to be cracked open. We're not here to suffer.
Yeah.
That's a choice. We are not going to be free from pain. That was never said. We're going to experience pain, and we get to choose whether or not we suffer. And unfortunately, a lot of times religions keep us in that suffering.
Suffer through the pain or grow through the pain.
It's true.
Your choice.
It's true. It doesn't mean it's easy.
No, it's definitely
and
not.
I feel like this is such an important topic because so many people have been turned off by religion and they've left the church, but then they're just kind of like dangling, like, I don't believe in that there's anything out there.
Yeah. So this, I know I brought this up with you before, but this is something that came up with conversations with my friends, this sense of when you're a kid and you start growing up in religion, it kind of creates this moral code for you in a way. And it's this certain way of life that you've been living. But once you wake up and realize oh, I don't actually know if I like this anymore. Right. I was just kind of born into it.
Yeah.
But then when they leave, it's well, I don't know anything else. And then you kind of just feel stuck in this limbo of, I don't know what to believe anymore. And everything is, messed up, and the world is, it right. Kind of, you can go down this rabbit hole of everything I was told is a lie.
Yeah. That can be very scary.
It is.
Yeah.
But then this is kind of we don't have to go into this, but I also still struggle with this idea of when you do have a kid, do you raise them into religion or something specific for them to believe in so they have that safety? Or do you not? And I don't know. I feel like I haven't met anyone who hasn't been born into something, I guess. So that is just interesting to me.
I guess it's just going to be like where you are on your path.
That's true.
You know, I do believe it is important to have something to believe in.
Right.
But like, yeah, you just, you know, it's like, again, it comes down to like so many parents, they are in fear that if they don't teach their child something like from a religion, then their child is going to go to hell. Like that has been the majority
or
of like what we've
moral compass kind of.
Yeah. So yeah, you know, you get to be in an exploration, and I did that when when I joined Sacred Path Healing. What they taught in that school, you know, there were teachings from the Bible, like Christ. There was also teachings from Buddha and Tibetan Buddhism and Hinduism and Sufism and all of these different paths, you know, and then I also explored a lot with the divine feminine paths, you know, like Kuan Yin and Green Tara and of course, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, and even further back to like the Egyptian times with Hathors and Isis, the goddess Isis. So like there's so many different paths. And I think that it's just important for you to explore and see what resonates. And mainly it's, again, coming back to that space of love. That's the most important thing. What can bring you back into your heart space and in your body, and like you can actually feel that you're being loved and feel that safety, that energy that's there, and that takes you out of that fear, that holds you in a warm embrace and is like, you know, come back to love. So you get to explore. Yeah.
Sorry, that was kind of just a tangent. I don't know. Just something I've been pondering.
Oh, no, that's okay. I think that's good. And that was actually like a question that was asked, you know, during a lot of like my shadow work and like I don't know, some people call deconstructing or healing religious trauma. It's like, what?
Unraveling the spiral, which, yeah, the spiral path is just all over. But yeah, I feel like there's no greater time than right now for everyone who may be lost to explore. And if you've been hurt by religion, to not give up on God, the divine source, universe. Don't give up, because when you can truly feel that energy within you, you know that you're going to be okay, no matter what's going on in the world. And I think something that kind of helps me is like, when we were kids, like praying.
Yes.
I did enjoy praying.
Yes.
And so even when we like moved away, I would still pray to God.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't the God that was, you know, taught to me exactly. But I think now I still do like pray every once in a while. But I feel like it's more towards like my angels.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that we have guardian angels.
Absolutely.
And that helps me.
Yeah.
I like doing that.
I love that. We do have guardian angels, and we actually have a whole spirit team that's around us. We have certain ancestors that have signed up to be with us. We have ascended masters that are around us. We are always being guided, and we are always being loved on and protected. It's just being able to slow down enough to see the signs and synchronicities that show us that we are. And prayers are something that I also do. Something when I started praying again, like you said, like I don't pray to the same God that I did when I was younger, but I actually really like to say Mother, Father, God. Mother, Father, God. That really helped me a lot come back to, divine feminine and divine masculine energies are what created us and what run through us. So it's not just this man sitting up in the clouds. The true Mother, Father, God is love, is not punishing us, is not hurting us, doesn't put us below. Yeah, that's not what the energy is. The energy is pure and total love and pure and total joy and bliss. That's what that energy is.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
Do we think we are complete?
Yes. And again, I would like to put the book that I referenced, even though I cannot. I don't know why it has slipped my mind. But I would like that to be our book. I have it on Audible, and I actually have the copy of it loaned out to someone right now, and I don't know why it's slipping my mind, but I will reference it.
It'll be the book of the week on our socials. And I can.
Jeez, Mary Magdalene, Meggan, Watterson. It's just.
It'll go in the
anyway
descriptions of stuff as well.
I just, for anyone who was raised in Christianity and Catholicism that have separated from the church, but really want to come back to their heart space, I feel like that book and several others can really help, and just again, learning the truth of what was hidden.
Right.
Not being mad about it in the way that, but to understand that it had to happen the way it had to happen. And that's the message I got from Mary Magdalene, that it had to happen the way it did. And a lot of things that are happening right now have to happen for us to see the truth. So, yeah. Thank you all for tuning in.
Yes, we hope you enjoyed the episode. If so, please give it a like. We appreciate subscriptions, comments.
Yes.
Pretty much anything engaging.
Yeah, definitely.
And we hope the bi-monthly schedule is going over well.
Yeah, it's going over well for us.
Yes,
and that's really, being able to have the work-life balance and being able to focus. You're creating the website right now, and we're talking more like I really, want to step into service more. So creating a community that's in the works in the background.
So very exciting stuff.
Yes,
on the way. And.
Yeah, thank you all so much. And we will be bringing episode 14 out
in a couple weeks.
And it's going to be around energy healing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
don't judge her, just love her.